So if you're watching this video, there's a good chance that you're just starting out on your marketing journey, and finding the right niche could feel overwhelming when you're just starting out. The reality is, what works for one person may not necessarily work for someone else. However, there are effective strategies to help you find the niche that works best for you and help you avoid decision overload. And in this video, I'm gonna go ahead and do just that. I'll help you consider different factors such as your passion, your expertise, market demand, as well as potential profitability. That way, you can go ahead and narrow down your choices and make an informed decision. This is the same strategy that I use to help find my niche at the agency, which has generated our clients close to $20 million in revenue. Now, this video is just one of 15 videos in our free training series available in our school community. And if after watching this video you find it useful, I want to go ahead and invite you to click the link in the description and join our free community so you can get access to all 15 videos in this training series. As a member of our free school community, you not will only get in-depth training on every single topic that you can think of when it comes to starting a marketing agency, but you'll actually have access to all of these downloadable materials that I personally use at the agency. Additionally, you'll have direct access to me where you can ask me any questions you may have along your agency journey. But with that being said, let's get into the training. So by the time you finish watching this video, you are going to have a step-by-step framework on exactly how to go ahead and find the niche that will work best for you. And just for context, this sheet as well as the niche research sheet, which is going to be a bunch of questions you're going to answer about your niche, are going to go ahead and be linked down below. One other thing is that in a later module in this free training, you are going to have access to this document that I have put together, which basically shows you a total of 85 different local businesses that you can go ahead and go after in the home, in the health, legal, real estate, automotive, as well as miscellaneous industry. So you'll have access to this document in the training where we show you exactly how to find local businesses. But to go back to this training, we'll go ahead and dive right into it. Now, before we actually go ahead and get into the strategy on how to best go and find your niche, I want to go ahead and preface this video with a couple of points. And the first one is that the most valuable client to your agency is not necessarily the client that will pay you the most per month. Rather, is the client that stays with you the longest and pays you the most over time. So this is really important, okay? The client that is most valuable to you is the one that's going to stay with you the longest and pays you the most over time. You guys are going to know down the road in your agency journey, you might have to actually offer a discount for the clients that you're working with to keep them with you longer. Case in point is a client of mine. Our best month, we generated them $450,000, and we typically charge a small monthly fee of $2,500 plus 10% of revenue, which in that case came out to $45,000. So they're like, hey man, we're paying you almost 50 grand this month. So we want to go ahead and see if we can renegotiate this percentage. So what I went ahead and I did is I lowered the 10% to 7.5%. Okay, and if I didn't do that, there's a good chance that they would have left. So again, the point is that the most important client to you is the one that stays with you the longest and pays you the most over time, rather than the person that pays you the most just that 1 month. The second point I want to make is that when you're picking a niche to get started, you always want to go ahead and consider the competitive advantage or knowledge that you have over other agency owners. For example, real estate can be the best niche for one person and the worst for the next. The same is true in any niche. So this is really important. If you can take 1 or 2 points away from this video, let it be this, which is that you need to find your competitive advantage or the knowledge that you have over other agency owners. Why do I say this? Well, I say this because 99% of the time, the business that you are pitching is already being pitched by other business owners. And what you need to do is you need to go ahead and stand out in a world where these business owners are being pitched every day. I'll give you guys the perfect example of how I use my own advice and found my competitive advantage that allowed me to win clients over other agency owners that were pitching them. So, for example, when I was starting with my agency, I went after e-commerce and more specifically the fashion and apparel niche. Now, instead of just pitching any fashion and apparel brand, what I went ahead and did is I pitched
Muslim slash Arab brands. And the reason I did that is because I myself am a Muslim and I'm an Arab. So when I was pitching these business owners, I automatically built rapport with them. I built rapport with them because we speak the same language, we have the same beliefs, and we have the same values and standards. So when myself, being an Arab and a Muslim, is pitching this business owner versus, let's say, John Smith, who lives in Virginia, is pitching the same business owner, I automatically had a more competitive advantage over Mr. John Smith, because the fact is that I built rapport with them because I speak the same language, we have the same beliefs, and we have the same values and standards. So this allowed me to go ahead and stand out. And more importantly, one of the reasons that allowed me to stand out is because the end consumer of these Muslim slash Arab brands are also Arab and Muslim. So me being an Arab and a Muslim, I can communicate to the prospects that I'm pitching that I know your end consumer because I use the same exact products, I wear the same exact clothing, and we have the same exact beliefs. So this allowed me to stand out, right? This was my competitive advantage and the knowledge that I had over other agency owners. You need to find what is your competitive advantage, whether that be the beliefs that you have, or I'll give you another example. Let's say you love skiing and you love snowboarding and you love skating, right? And the niche that you're going to go after, you're considering, it might be a niche that sells these products. Well, guess what? That's great because that's going to give you a competitive advantage because you already are familiar with the products that they use because that is literally your hobby. That is what you love doing. So whatever the competitive advantage that you have over other agency owners, you need to go make sure you go ahead and find that, because that right there is going to help you stand out in a world where 99% of the time, the business owner that you're pitching is also being pitched by other agency owners. And the last thing I want to mention to preface this video is that I suggest you test different niches to get started with, unless you already made your mind about a specific niche, to figure out where you enjoy working and growing your skills. No one likes building an agency around a niche that they don't enjoy at all. Now, with this advice, you need to take it with a grain of salt. Just because you are not passionate about a niche that you know is a really good niche to get into does not mean that you shouldn't go in after it, okay? What I'm saying here is just that it's a plus. If you enjoy the niche, it's a plus. So giving you the example of, the skateboarding and skiing niche, for example, if you're already into that stuff and you find a niche and it's a good niche and you get into it, that's great. If not, it's completely fine, because at the end of the day, for me personally, if I was to go after any niche, the reason I go after that niche is because I know that I can make the money, which in return can make me money. And at the end of the day, that's what motivates me, being able to get my clients good results and making a bunch of money doing so. So this right here, this advice, take it with a grain of salt. Okay, it's great if you can find a niche that you're actually passionate about, but if you're not passionate about a niche, but you know it's a good niche to get into, does not mean that you shouldn't go after it. Still go after it. But again, it would be a plus if you find a niche that you're passionate about, because you guys will see down the road when it's late at night and you're recording these videos to pitch these clients, it's going to get lonely. And if you are not motivated by something, then it's going to be very easy for you to quit. For me personally, I'm motivated by the fact that I can generate my clients' results and make a ton of money to take care of my family and the people that I care about. Now, lastly, before we get into the meat of this video, at the end of this video, you are going to have homework, okay? What that homework is, I want you to spend all of tomorrow researching the niche that you choose after going through this framework. And then you're going to go ahead and fill out the questions at the end of the sheet, which is this sheet right here. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and write down all of your findings in a different tab or in your notes section, so that way you can compile these questions or these answers and then upload them to this questionnaire, which once you finish filling it out, will give you an idea if that niche is worth going into or not. So that is your homework for today. Now, if you are just starting out, if you're someone that is just starting out, you've never ran ads before, or this is your first time starting your agency, what I would recommend is, if you are starting out with an agency, your best advantage would be to work with local businesses as opposed to e-commerce businesses. Now, why is that? Why do I recommend you go after local as opposed to e-commerce when I got started, I went after e-commerce as opposed to local? Well, there's two reasons, okay? The first reason is that e-commerce businesses get pitched every single day by other agencies like like mine that actually have a case study or that have a proven track record or that have generated millions of dollars. And if an established agency pitches that same business that you're pitching, there's a good chance that you are going to get ignored. So you're just starting out. You don't have no meat in the game. You haven't got your hands dirty. You haven't generated results, and you don't have no case studies, a proven track record. And, if I'm pitching the same business, there's a good chance they're going to go with me versus go with you if you don't yet have anything established yet. So that is the first reason why I recommend you go with local as opposed to e-com, because honest to God, you guys, e-commerce businesses are getting pitched every day. I see this with my own clients. We have access to their Facebook and Instagram, and every single day there's messages from other agency owners that are pitching them their services. Even friends of mine, okay, I know I have friends of mine, at least 2 of my friends that own agencies have pitched my clients. Now, they pitch them without knowing that they are my clients, but I'm just showing you that business owners, e-commerce, are getting pitched every single day. So if you are not yet established, it's going to be hard for you to go ahead and get them as a client as opposed to someone who's well established. Now, you can, don't get me wrong, you can close a client. It's just going to be much harder for you to go and close a client that's in e-commerce versus someone that it's local. So that's the first point, why. The second point is that you are going to have an advantage over other agencies when pitching businesses within your jurisdiction. One, because they're not getting pitched as much as other businesses like e-com or information product. And 2 is because you'll be able to build rapport working with someone whose business is 5 or 50 miles away, as opposed to someone who lives across the country. So for example, I live in Boise, Idaho, and right across the street there's a med spa, okay? So you can imagine if I'm going after med spas and I shoot, this business owner an email, or I call them and I say, hey, Mr. Business Owner, I live right across the street from you. I see that you have a med spa. I wanted to see if you have 5 to 15 minutes to talk about how I can generate you an extra 5 clients per day. Imagine that. That is automatic rapport building versus someone who lives all the way across the country, let's say New York. Okay? So again, the 2 points here is that, 1, business owners that are local are being pitched 90% of the time less than e-commerce businesses or any business that is online. But 2, regardless of where you are, you're going to be able to build rapport pitching businesses within your jurisdiction. So that is the why as to why I recommend you go with local versus businesses that are online like e-commerce and information product. Now, what is the verdict? Well, the verdict is start with local until you have generated some results, gathered some testimonials, gained some experience, got your hands dirty, and then transition into e-com or anything else that you desire to do at that point. So what I'm saying here is you don't have to stick with local. If you start with local, you don't have to stick with local. You might be someone that is like, I love information product and I love e-com and I want to go after these businesses. Well, great. Start with some local businesses, get them some results, gather some testimonials, gain some experience, and then transition into e-com and information product. And now you're probably thinking, well, when I pitch them, it's going to be a totally different business, Well, guess what? It's going to be better than going in and not having results, because you can tell them, hey, Mr. Business Owner, I know that, I have some results that I've generated for, let's say, med spas. Again, I'm using med spa as an example throughout this video, so does not mean you should go after med spa, but I am using it as an example. You'll be able to tell them, I've generated, these 5 clients X amount of money, generated them X amount of clients, and these were the results that we were able to generate them. Now, I know we can do the same for your business, and although this is a local business that is a med spa, and you're an e-commerce brand that is selling clothing, 2 different businesses, but at the end of the day, the goal is the same. The marketing is the same. The only difference is the end consumer and the product and service that we're offering. So this right here is going to be a bigger advantage for you when you're pitching these businesses as opposed to someone who has not generated any results possible, okay? On top of that, guys, what is going to be great is you're going to be less awkward when you're pitching these businesses, because after working with a few local businesses, you're going to gain some expertise, you're going to have some confidence, and when you're pitching these e-com and information product businesses, you are going to be well-seasoned and well-oiled, if you will, to actually go ahead and communicate with them properly. So that is the recommendation and the why and the verdict as to why you should go after local. Now we're going to really get into the fun stuff, which is the 3-step process on exactly how you're going to go ahead and find the perfect niche. Now, step number one is understanding the business model. And here, what you're going to do is you're going to understand the fundamentals of a niche. You don't know how many people I come across who decide to go after a specific niche, but they don't even understand the fundamentals of that niche, okay? It's really important that you do so. So before you can actually get clients in, a niche or get them results, you need to understand the core of the business model. For this, what I recommend is that you watch some videos online about the business itself. YouTube and Google is a good place to start. You can search things such as, quote, how to open a med spa, or how to become a realtor, or how much do realtors make, or how to open a restaurant, or how to become a chiropractor. Okay, you want to go ahead and search these terms online. That way you can go ahead and understand exactly the fundamentals of the business. And I do apologize, guys. I'm in literally the heart of Boise, Idaho. There's a bunch of drunk people and a bunch of cars, so I do apologize for the noise in advance. But nonetheless, you want to also go ahead and dig deeper. Okay, you want to go ahead and find forums where these business owners in your niche tend to hang out and talk about the pain points that they are facing when running their business. What does a regular day for them look like? And look for other small details. So this is really important, guys. Like, this one piece of advice is so valuable. There's basically groups online on Facebook. There's forums. There's on Quora and Reddit. And essentially, regardless of what niche you're going after, there's all of these business owners that are in these groups that are communicating with one another, helping one another out, talking about their pain points, talking about their wins. And what you need to do, depending on the niche that you go after, is you want to go ahead and find these groups and, infiltrate them. In other words, be in these groups and see what are they talking about? What are their pain points? One, not only do you have a supply to thousands of business owners, right, within these the niche that you're in, but two, you're going to be able to see exactly what they're talking about on a day-to-day basis. For example, if you're doing e-com, there's a Facebook group that has over 250,000 e-commerce owners that are making less than 7 figures. And on this page, they literally talk about, how they can generate more sales, what's working for them, different marketing tactics. So you can imagine, let's say you're someone that's, going into e-com. Imagine you are in this group, and you're seeing what these people are talking about. Not only will it help you articulate yourself better when actually pitching them, but what it's also going to do is give you a pool of literally 250,000 potential prospects that you can go ahead and pitch. So this is step number one. You want to go ahead and understand the fundamentals of the business by doing some research on YouTube, on Google, but also dive in deeper and figuring out where these business owners within your niche hang out and infiltrating these groups, getting some ideas as to what is their pain points, and essentially, having a pool of business owners that you can go ahead and reach out to. Now, step number 2 is understanding the numbers. And over here, what we want to do is basically set some benchmarks. So the next thing you want to do is get some benchmarks on how much your average client makes in revenue. What is their average profit margins? What is their average monthly expenses, etc. Again, Google and YouTube is a good place for this. You can look up things such as, again, if we're going to use the med spa example, how much does the average med spa make a year? What is the average profit of a med spa? How much employees does the average med spa have? Or what sort of expensive does a med spa have? So again, whatever your niche is, you're going to go ahead and use this question and then just plug in your niche, whether it's med spa, chiropractors, realtors, whatever the case may be. Once again, you want to go ahead and write down all these answers and compile them. That way you can go ahead and upload them to the sheet. So that way, once you're done with it, you can make an informed decision as to, is this the best niche to get into? Now, you might be wondering, well, why, do I need to understand the numbers? Is that really important? And the answer is yes, it is really important because it's important for a couple of reasons. Okay. The first one is that, when you are pitching these prospects or when you're on a sales call with them, the fact that you're going to have an average, the fact that you're going to have a general idea as to, what their numbers are is going to be great. Now, some businesses obviously is going to be more, some is going to be less, but you need to have a ballpark. For example, if you ask me how much does a chiropractor make a year, I have no clue, man. I don't know if it's $250,000. I don't know if it's $2 million. So you can imagine if I'm going after this niche, I should know what that number is, or at least a general idea. So that is the first reason. The second reason is really the most important reason, which is you're going to realize that you might want to go after, for example, restaurants. And when you're going after restaurants, after, doing this research as to what are their numbers, you're going to realize that restaurant businesses don't make a lot of money. And if I go pitch them and ask them for $2,000 or $3,000 a month, they can't make sense of that because the margins that they have is very little. So let's say, you're going to ask yourself, well, if the average plate at a restaurant is $20 to $30 and I get them an extra 70 clients a month, That's not a lot of money, right? For them to actually pay me and then pay for ad spend. So this right here is going to help you do your due diligence when choosing your niche, because again, it'll, one, help you understand their numbers, but two, it'll help you avoid going into a niche that is not worth it, which I recommend you actually go into a niche that has a higher service or higher ticket product. That way they can make sense of paying you whatever you're asking for per month, plus spending money on ads. So that is step number 2, is you're going to go ahead and set some benchmarks. That way you can understand the numbers of your niche. And step number 3 is going to be marketing specific tactics. Over here, what we want to do is we want to understand the niche results and the service delivery. So now it's time for you to learn more about marketing specific tactics for your niche. You would have already picked your service offering earlier in this process. That means you need to find marketing specific tactics related to, let's say, Facebook ads, Google ads, content marketing, SEO, email marketing, whatever the service that you're offering. So by this point, you should already know what service you're offering. So let's say we're offering Facebook ads. And after going through this video and filling out the sheet, we realize that we're going to go after med spas. Great. Now we know that we are going to offer Facebook ads to med spas. So your next step is to actually go to YouTube or Google. YouTube is actually a great place for this. And you're going to go ahead and search things such as how to get results for med spa with Facebook ads, or med spa marketing case study, or med spa Facebook ads case study. So regardless of what your service is, the service that you're offering, and what your niche is, you're going to go ahead and search that. You're going to plug it in here and search that on YouTube. You also want to look for what sorts of offers did they run that converted well, what sort of pictures and videos worked well for them, as well as the text, and essentially their overall marketing strategy. Now, this is really important, guys. If you are in our paid program, you know not only are we installing in your business any delivery service that you need. So for example, if you need a media buyer, we're going to hire a trained media buyer and install them in your agency. Or if it's someone that's doing SEO or email marketing, whatever the case may be. So this is not going to be an issue for you. But if you're watching this video, and you don't purchase the program, I still want to go ahead and give you as much value as possible. So what you want to do here is you want to go ahead and do this research, because it will give you insights as to how to deliver results for them. So if you've never ran ads before, this is a perfect example. You want to search on how to actually generate this niche results. Again, med spa with Facebook ads for the example that we're using. But not only that, even if you have some experience with the service that you're offering, it's important to do this research, right, to see what results worked for them, because what this will do is it'll show you what's currently working. Okay, so for example, let's say, one of our clients, one of our few local clients that I ran ads for when I was living in Egypt, was a dentist client. And what we essentially did was we offered free teeth cleaning for someone that comes in for an evaluation. So that worked great for us, because 75% of the people that came in for free teeth cleaning ended up taking the evaluation and ended up purchasing a service that costed more. Okay, so chiropractors, it could be the same thing. You might offer a free massage. You might look up a video on YouTube, and a chiropractor case study will tell you, we offered a free massage, and then the people that came in, we gave them an evaluation, and they ended up purchasing, 5 sessions at $500 in total. Okay, so you want to look these things up. That way you realize, okay, this is something that we can test, and then you can go to your client and say, can we offer this for free, or can we offer this discount to get people into the door to then upsell them on a bigger thing? So this is step number 3. Regardless if you're joining our Done With You social media marketing agency blueprint, and we input these people that are going to deliver these services on your behalf, regardless if you join that or not, again, I still want to provide you value if you don't. And the way I'm doing that is by telling you, do your research when it comes to service delivery. Because even though you might be the best marketer, you want to see what is working for this specific niche, especially if it's a new niche that you have never got into. So step number 3 is marketing specific tactics. And over here, we're trying to understand the niche results as well as the service delivery. And lastly, we have this niche research worksheet, which if you click this button right here, it'll actually open it for you in a new tab. And again, this niche research worksheet, by the time you get to this sheet, you should already have most of it, most of the answers. So what you'll do is you'll go ahead and delete these examples. Actually, you're going to make a file copy, and you're going to delete these example answers that I gave you, and you're going to go ahead and fill it out, okay? Once you finished filling it out, you're going to have a thorough understanding as to, is this niche actually worth going into? Okay, now I gave you an example for each question just to show you like what the answers should look like. But nonetheless, you're going to go ahead and fill this out, and after you're done, you will be able to make an informed decision as to is this the right niche to get into. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you in the next training. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you watch it again if you need to, and make sure you go ahead and grab these 2 sheets, as well as this sheet, which is actually going to be available in a later training where we show you exactly how to get local e-commerce clients. See you guys in the next training.